Welcome to the BetterPears Podcast. Join Dr. Jason Fujikawa for his insights on theology, philosophy, culture, and the verbal expressions we use to relate meaning and reality to one another. Make no mistake, this is a podcast for nerds, but particular nerds who are searching for old wisdom made ever new. To learn more about the BetterPears cultural empire, please visit betterpears.com. Welcome back to the BetterPears Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Jason Fujikawa. This episode is on perdition, and by extension, forgiveness. The purpose of the episode, like all those of the podcast, is to suggest a deeper etymology and etiology for the words we employ to express reality each day. Thus, while the positions offered in each episode are in no way definitive, it is my hope that they function as timeless attempts at expanding your palette for true and accurate verbal expression. If you disagree with a connection made in the episode, please respond in the comments. If you enjoy this production, I also ask that you like the episode, subscribe to the podcast, and let us know in the comments. This simple task truly helps us reach a wider audience. To receive the transcript of each episode and be the first to learn of BetterPears announcements, please sign up to our newsletter at the bottom of the page at betterpears.com. In addition to the BetterPears podcast, BetterPears also presents the Confederal Reserve, our interview series on Rumble and YouTube, which connects old friends over even older classical works that have shaped the life of each episode's guest. They are conversations long overdue and designed to model substantive conversations about the great ideas that you too can have with formerly close friends and family who may have become distant of late. Please visit our video channels through the links in the description. Finally, the BetterPears podcast is offered free through the wonder of the internet, but made possible through the continued contributions of our listener audience. In March, we announced our new crowdfunding program, BetterPears Leaves. The program is simple, and some might say elegant in design. Contribute $12 or more each month to BetterPears, and receive a thank you goldback in the mail. To learn more, visit betterpears.com/leaves. Thank you for your continued patronage of attention and Federal Reserve notes. And now, on with the episode. Episode 10. Perdition. Hell, infernum, oblivion, perdition. The expression for the possible state of life to come, separated from God, bears the vestiges of pagan cultures into which the early church spread, as well as the more abstract concepts of forgetfulness and loss. The word perdition is of particular interest as it pairs the action of giving, which is central to the human condition as a creature and steward, to the aspect of completeness and thoroughness. Perdition is composed of the Latin prefix per and dition, derived from the Latin verb do dare, through the paradigmatic tio tionis third declension feminine noun form. Per has a meaning of spatial origin, that is, the meaning through, as in through an object, and comes to mean thorough, as descriptive of something entirely pervading. This leads to an extended meaning of fullness or completeness. For example, something that is perfect is thoroughly or completely made or formed. Something permanent is thoroughly remaining, incorruptible. This intensifying adverbial prefix per is then joined to do dare, a verb which begets an entire Latin noun case or inflection structure. The act of giving, in its anthropological origin, distinct from its divine origin, supposes a giver, subject, a gift, direct object, and a receiver, indirect object, the last of which is conventionally expressed in the dative case, which is essentially the case related to giving, possession, or benefit. In the situation of eternal damnation, often meant by the term perdition, our mental focus is often on the presumed indirect object of this exchange, whereby the condemned human being is given over by God to Satan. The per in perdition seems to signify the irrevocability of this definitive exchange. The image conveyed is rightfully unsettling, as if God in his omnipotence and omniscience were somehow caught off guard by an uncharacteristic wager over a rebellious creature and had to forfeit or foreclose on the entire creative investment to this infernal creditor. God seems deficient in this portrayal, and the key to the resolution lies in the nature of punishment and its payment. Cicero defines justice as giving to another according his due. Cf. De Natura Deorum, Book 3, Section 38, which requires not only the moral resolve, that is, the will, to enact this restoration, but the wisdom to discern what is due to each party. One insight that the ancient Romans had into the nature of justice and punishments relative to justice is that punishments are given by the offender, not received. A sentence is received, but the pain of the punishment, the poena, is expressed through the verb dodare. The idea is that a punishment is a surrender or removal of something improperly possessed by the offender, for example, stolen loot, or something rightfully possessed by the offender, such as wealth or liberty, which by surrendering permanently or temporarily restores the balance of justice, not only to the offended, but to the community at large, which has also endured the injurious reality. This distinction between receiving sentences and paying or giving punishments is central to our understanding of what forgiveness truly is. To forgive, for here is spelled F-O-R-E, to forgive is for an innocent party to give the punishment prior to the offender giving the punishment. On the cosmic level of salvation history, by uniting ourselves with Christ through baptism, we participate in the forgiving of the punishment of death due to us on account of our sin. Although he did not co-sign on our debauched transgressions, God has given himself to the satisfaction of our capital debts. The victory of Jesus Christ over death, over captivity to sin and the devil, is universal and unending. And yet, as St. Paul commands, we work out our salvation with fear and trembling. See Philippians 2:12. What is the accurate understanding of perdition if Jesus reigns? Perhaps the directionality of the acts of knowing and loving can provide some insight here. In the fundamental operation of the intellect, the knower knows the object known. The direction of knowledge is from the object revealing itself to the knower to the point that the object known comes to be in the knower, in the mode of the knower. The tree, or object perceived through the senses, comes to exist in the intellect of the observer, not according to the proper nature of a tree, that is, a material being, but in the mode of the knower, that is, as an immaterial image and form. With love, which can be attributed to the will, the lover loves the beloved, or object of love, and the direction of love, in contrast to knowledge, is out of the lover toward the beloved. This applies to romantic love as well as familial love, friendship, and even patriotic love. This outward movement of love often begins with external gifts as extensions of self and progresses to intentional acts of love, culminating in the very gift of self. This self-donation, this self-giving love, can occur regardless of whether such love is divinely ordered. In the City of God, St. Augustine writes of two fundamental loves. Quote, "Two cities, then, have been created by two loves. That is, the earthly city by the love of self, extending even to the contempt of God, and the heavenly by the love of God, extending to contempt of self." End quote. City of God, Book 14, Chapter 28. The love of self to the contempt of God is the self-giving love that leads to perdition. Is it conceivable to imagine myself so caught up in my own projects, plans, and passions that I neglect or outright deny the love and movement toward God that is due to him and necessary for me? Could this blindness extend to my presence before his very, that is, vere, judgment seat? With the veil lifted and lifted from the veil of tears, would I deny him for the love of my own efforts, a proxy for my love of self? Yes, I could conceive of such a blindness, such a loss, a perdition leading to perdition. I remained grateful for my fear and trembling, for gratitude is what rightly orders my love. Gratitude humbles me and orients me to receive God's forgiveness, his movement toward me, and my response toward him in love. Perdition rightly so, and sown. The views expressed by BetterPears contributors are theirs alone, and do not necessarily reflect the views of BetterPears, its parent company, or any company or organization affiliated with the contributors. For more information, to support BetterPears, or to shop for BetterPears merchandise, please visit betterpears.com.